success on the British band The Farm was enough to convince me to give them some attention. I mean, here was a band that was supposedly plagued with a mysterious 7-year curse. There were all these stories about altercations with the British authorities, about being banned from playing some northern cities. There was the idea that they subscribed to the mass proletariat culture, which puts them in league with the Clash, I guess. And then there was all these rumors about sheep. I mean, these are good enough reasons to give them some attention.
Using all the tricks that you used on me. You're looking in those high-fashion magazines. Clothes you're wearing, girl, across some public scene.
What about the 7-year curse?
It's over.
It's over?
Well, it lasted from 1990. See, when it was over, it just started all happening.
What was it exactly?
Just bad luck all the time, you know, like tragedies and bad luck, and, you know, just all like destined for, like, you know, obscurity and that.
We were plagued by uselessness.
Really?
Yeah.
Couldn't get everyone together in the same year, so yeah.
Although I hear being useless is in fact a virtue in some cases.
It is in some ways, yeah. Never a dull moment.
So what's this preoccupation with sheep?
Sheep, yeah, I mean, we've been asked this a couple of times, but, I mean, the sheep thing was on the front cover of Stepping Stone, and it was just a comment on so-called British fashion at the time. You know, a lot of these so-called fashion magazines were saying flares and kickers and cricket hats were, you know, quite fashionable, which everyone on the streets knew they weren't, like. It was the ultimate con. And when the tabloids started to pick up on it, we thought it'd be good to put the front cover on a sheep dressed in flares and kickers on the front cover of the single, and anyone who knows anything about anything would know exactly what we meant. In fact, clothes shops around England, Manchester, Liverpool, London, actually had posters of that in the window. It was like an anti-fashion statement, you know.
And yet you've been written up for firing people for their fashion statements.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of mythology, mate. Yeah. Really, because we're bastards.
Together now for a second, because that was, as I understand it, it's based on historical fact. What's the story behind that song?
There was an incident in the First World War when basically it was an unofficial truce between all the warring factions, you know, the British and Germans especially, and the French decided to have an unofficial truce at Christmas time, and basically to fraternise between the trenches and no man's land. It's a true story, but it's very hard to read about it in Britain. You can read about it, but you're not taught about it in schools, you know. I chanced upon it in a magazine, and when I read up on about it, I wrote the song because, you know, it was an inspirational period in history. That it was actually about unity rather than conflict, you know.
People to fall head first into a pile of mud.
Back to the old payola.
£25
£25 each.
Some of them were great, you know. It was like members of the band, unnamed members of the band, were quivering at jumping in.
Me.
When there was like pensioners gladly leaping in. Some of them were hilarious, you know. It's supposed to be a trench.
And I guess
for some of them, it was the best day of their life.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, we got a laugh, like, but, you know, don't know what it means.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if it had any inherent symbolism.
Don't ask us, ask the producer. But I think it was supposed to represent, like, the trenches and, you know, ordinary people from society.
Nobody's got that yet. Everyone's been saying, hey, I love the graves.
I've heard you compared, well, described as the British electronic Grateful Dead.
Yeah, well, what's it mean?
What does it mean?
Well, I was going to ask you that, actually.
I don't know what it means, you know.
Are you known for, like, great, long, improvised, impromptu sessions on stage?
Well, we get carried away now and again, but it's not really any longer than any usual. I mean, what happens sometimes at the end of the gig when we ran out of songs and we're sitting there in the crowd going mad that we just tend to go into long raps led by him. I bang the bass drum, he utters rubbish.
We don't know anything about Grateful Dead. Like, I presume that means people think we're boring. I don't know. Like,
maybe it has
really
something
like
to do with their
like,
fans. Maybe, are your fans sort of recognizable by, you know, do they travel in packs and
a pack of farm fans, collective terms for farm fans, that's what we need.
Packs.
A pack of farm fans.
Yeah. No, I mean, you know, I suppose it might mean you think the Grateful Dead have got a loyal following, is that what you mean?
Extremely.
But we haven't, our loyal, our loyal following, you know, was like numbered like hundreds until about a year ago. Now it numbers tens.
Right.
Tens.
The youth of Toronto must have their say.
Here they are. They've had enough. They've had enough.
See you later.
That was their 15 seconds.